Hi folks, with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the repatriation of between 500,000 and 1 million, depending on whose numbers you look at, 1 million Haitians in the United States that are under temporary visas or TPSs, I think they call them. Temporary protected status, I think is the. So now some of these, not all, but some of them, and quite a few of them from what I can gather, have been in the United States since going back to the days of Barack Obama. So we're talking 2009, 2010, 2011, around there. And the numbers have swelled from so many thousands or tens of thousands to begin with to at least 500,000 now, if not, again, depending on whose numbers you look at, 940, 950,000 Haitians. Now, some of them have been in the United States for 15 years under this temporary protection thing. Now, it's meant to be a temporary visa, but there's always an excuse that's brought up as to why they can't go back. The political situation is uncertain. The economic situation is uncertain. Now, remember, Haiti has always been a third world basket case. So the idea that the economic situation is uncertain, it's always been uncertain. So this is how this could be used as a reason not to go back to Haiti is quite beyond me. Now, some of the arguments are, of course, quite ridiculous. Hey, we're used to being in a rich first world country now where we get everything given to us for free. Hey, we don't want to go back to a third world country. I mean, who would? Oh, I do understand that, but that's where you come from. If you want to make Haiti better, go back and make it better. But the idea that you can come and parasite off a rich first world country and then believe you're entitled to that, well, that's a separate discussion. Now, I looked at I've looked at a number of media articles about these Haitian temporary migrants or whatever you want to call them, temporary protected migrants, and the reporting is very, very one-sided. If anyone who talks about sending them back to Haiti is Hitler, Hitler thrice. They're entitled to be in the US. Why shouldn't they be? How dare you suggest otherwise, you fucking fascist Nazi, and so on and so forth. So very, very one-sided with all the pathos thing there. Now, quite a few, because they've been so long in the US, quite a few of them have had children there, and they're saying, even though that when you're a temporary protected status thing, as I understand it, at least you don't get automatic birthright citizenship stuff. But the Haitians have been procreating as vigorously as they can in the hope that this will create an anchor baby situation, and they want to, of course, give hopefully, as they would see it, would give them maximum leverage. Now, they've got a vast network of NGOs that brought them there to the US in the first place. NGOs that make sure that they get freebie everything at the expense of the American taxpayer, and that they have free legal aid and free this and again free everything, things that you and I can't get for free. Now, the reporting was very one-sided. They would only, the media reporting would only quote people that were very strongly on the side of the Haitians, demanding they should have the right to stay forever and should get free stuff forever and should never have to go back to Haiti because of various supposedly political and civic unrest and, again, economic uncertainty. Now, the idea that this unrest in Haiti only began yesterday or the last few years is nonsense. Haiti has always been a basket case. It's never not been a basket case. So there was a brief time when it was prosperous, and that was when the French were running things. But after that, everything went south, and Haiti has never recovered. The black people of Haiti's been a sovereign black run nation for over 200 years, and from the day that the black government took over, it became a corrupt basket case. Now, would it be nice if Haiti got all sorted out, if they their public services worked, they had a bureaucracy and a government that wasn't corrupt? Would that be nice? Well, yeah, I mean, sure it would be. But it's not that way. It has never been that way. Now, there's been various attempts by Western nations to some of them very ineffective, by the way, various attempts by Western nations, the US included, to try and sort things out, sending US troops in to keep the peace, or, that type of thing, or even, because I think French is spoken in Haiti, so French peacekeepers, but none of it seems to work. And I don't know how it'd be possible to turn Haiti away from being a basket case. I mean, can you even end the corruption? I mean, you notice that even when white government has been in for even 100 years, and they're teaching the black administrators to be good public servants and to be independent and impartial and deliver in the common good. The minute the white people are out the door, the corrupt practices come in, and the place, whether it be Zimbabwe, whether it be South Africa, wherever they turn into basket case. There's a country in Africa at the moment that's racked in civil war with militia gangs running around killing people. It's a disaster basket case from top to bottom. And yet recently they had an international trade delegation visiting Australia, and they were living high on the hog. And they were eating at the most expensive restaurants in Australia, staying at the most expensive hotels in Australia. Were wearing the sharpest, the $10,000 suits and designer labeled clothes, and they were living like fucking kings while their country was in rack and ruin. This is the type of corruption that the black elites just cannot avoid doing. But coming back to the media coverage being very, very one-sided, in favour of the Haitians should all be able to come to the US, every single one of them, and stay all and get parasite off the white taxpayer. I've noticed there's been a change. Now it's not a huge change, but I've noticed a change. One of the local stations in the United States where there is a sizable Haitian temporary visa population, they interviewed 4 people. They laid out the news anchors laid out the situation, very sympathetic to the Haitians, but they did point out that they're under a temporary protected status, and with the intention was they would go back to Haiti at some point. So they'd state that. Now that was something they wouldn't state, even a few months ago. They wouldn't even mention that. They would just but again, there was the footage of little black girls, Haitian girls, all dressed in pink, that look like brand new clothes that they just bought at the store 5 minutes ago, suggesting it's a choreographed photo op shoot. And they're in this like kids playground type thing, public park, and they're taking photo. How can you make these people go back to Haiti? Quick shot of Haiti where there's rioting in the streets and it's dirty and looking very third world. And how can you make these little children go? No, it's not. You're loading the dice here, guys. You're not news reporting anymore. You're strongly advocating for one side or the other. That's not your job, isn't it? You're meant to report the news. So there's still the advocacy still going on, just not to the same extent. So they mentioned three groups, or 4 actually, if you include the NGO lawyers. 4 groups that will say, "Oh no, you can't send these people back. It's barbaric. It's inhumane." And then the language comes ripping families apart, little girls, and that sort of emotional rhetoric. But then they did interview one guy who then was I don't know what he was, but I think he might have been the local mayor or something like that. And he said, "Look, these people here on temporary visas, they've always meant to go back. It was always temporary. They kept on getting extensions, but that doesn't change anything. It's temporary." And he did point out but it's always been a poor country. The idea that they can say, "Well, no, we're not going to go back till it becomes a first world country." I said, no, that was never the deal. The deal was always a temporary arrangement. That temporary arrangement's expired, so you're going back. That was always and they did report that. Now, a few months ago, you never would have seen that. You never would have seen the other point of view. They would have stuck doggedly to just one point of view. They'd have only interviewed people that would have said, Trump's a Nazi, and that. They would have only done those interviews. and they would have put these rabid activists up and presented them as independent voices, which they weren't, never were. But this time they're still nowhere near striking a balance, but at least they are presenting the other point of view, and they did in the news. The news anchors did say this is a temporary visa. So again, you wouldn't have seen that a few months ago. So there is a change in the way things are being reported. Still got quite a way to go, but they need to, for example, the type of reporting that is needed. These people were temporarily brought to America. A lot are illegal. Many have committed many crimes. They're not bothering to fit in, but at the same time claiming that they can't go back. 95% of them can't speak a word of English, and they could present it in a way that says, hey, it's just not working out. These people need to go back, and point out that Haiti's always been a third world basket case. These sorts of things. So when that balance of reporting is there, then we'll all be better off for it. But that is starting to happen, just a little bit, and it needs to go a long way. But at least the other side is getting a hearing and is getting some sort of a. Now the guy that said that the temporary visa for the Haitians was expired, they got to go back. He's a white guy, older white guy, be about 50, very, very well dressed, manicured and looking wealthy, and that I think was a slight propaganda thing that, well, look, those rich white guys don't care about these black kids and little girls in pink, and so I think there was an element of that there, and they could have done a better job of balanced reporting, but at least they gave the other side, and that in itself is a step forward. You've been a Tacitus Today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.